started, right? Because my daughter's still not asleep, so maybe she's
Absolutely. Not a problem. Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to another edition of Connecting the Dots with myself and Philip Druzhinin. Um, we left off yesterday with our last show about Tartaria and about Mudflood, and we're going to give you a little something different for today about the red brick makers.
So this first page is about the history of the brick and some types of the brick. So it's like it was well known in before the Christ era. So it's like huge periods of time that they showing us. But let's just scroll closer to the industrial era, because the previous era is not really, it could be anything because they can tell us anything, industrial era is the era of 19th century, so it's what I'm trying to research. So as I said, in 1855 they produced the first machine, and it was capable of producing 25,000 bricks per day with minimal supervision. And then some company patented it, and even a guy in New York patented it in 1855, 1852. I don't know how it's that he patented it 3 years before the guy was inventing the actually not inventing, making the first machine, because inventing could be inventing in a small size, right, and making machinery and production line could be in huge sizes, and so it took some years for them to do them, to produce those machinery. So, and this is where the official science says they started all this stuff. So before that, it looks kind of like this. So it just, containing the clay in some forms and forming the bricks and stacking them into the huge stacks, or whatever you call them. And sometimes with horses, sometimes without the horses. You can find those pictures in Wikipedia's or in Google images. So sometimes it's not that very hard to imagine how they did it, but when you look at those huge machinery,
Yeah, what is that? What is that doing?
just imagine how much metal and resources you have to put in this machine, right? And this machine is very highly technological, in fact.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? I mean, look how big that is. I mean, is that something that we just took over from kind of technology from the giants, from the bigger people that we coexisted with? Is that a possibility? Did we get this kind of technology from the giants?
I think it's just mechanical technology, and mechanical technology is an engineering knowledge, right? So who said there were no engineers?
Right.
So engineers are always inventing stuff. So I think it's not very hard to imagine how to do this. But
Right.
to do something like this, you have to pick all the chances, all the possible chances, and create exactly this type of construction, right? That gonna be working exactly this type of way that you want. So you're supposed to know the recipe of what you know, and of what you know, how to produce the brick. So we had some period of time of a manual production. So they probably knew all the technical qualities of the brick, and they knew how exactly manipulate them during the production. So to make the production cheaper, in fact, and to make it faster.
Right.
So
Right.
when we talk about manual production like this is not great amount of bricks. It's just maybe to build a small town, right? So not
right.
It's possible, of course, and they did it, and they actually can perform this brick production right now, because everybody can make a form out of wooden stuff, and press the
You know what I found too, Philip? Pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
Found out doing my research that you can actually make this stuff on site. So, say for instance, like you're building a building, like the Tower of Babel. You can actually just make bricks right on site. You don't even have to transport these things.
Yes, because the mud was everywhere, and the clay was the 90% of the mud, so it was underneath their feet. So that's why bricks were so easily to make a mobile production near the house of the construction, or the whatever construction site you were doing. You just making this mobile production, and just support and supply the demand of the bricks on the construction site, and that's it. But the problem is that the bricks have a quality, and those bricks are still standing, and sometimes quality of the bricks looks to be more, or at least not less efficient than we have today. And that's why I've been talking about the industrial era, not the manual production, because you cannot have the manual production to, for example, speed up the construction. Manual production is a slow, step-by-step production. It's just, a month or something like this to make a full cycle and create this amount of bricks that they showed here. It's not a one-day production. It's just about like a couple of weeks, right? This is only one step. This is the step of drying, and maybe second one, smoking.
Heating them up, right?
Yeah, heat them. This is firehouses. Yeah, so
firehouses, right?
Yeah, they did those stacks in the form of a house, and then burned all this brick house around, and it was heating up for a couple of days and reaching the temperature of 2000 Celsius, something like this, and then it was drying and cooling down for a couple of days after all this fire stopped. So it was a very, very efficient way, but it's a long method, and you cannot just do it in a production rate like we do today. So that's why I started talking about the industrial era, because manual production is okay. I can handle it, and I probably would imagine how they did it in small cities, small towns. But how did they do it in cities like Chicago, like Moscow, like St. Petersburg, and whatever, the biggest brick towers, for example, in Germany, right? How did they do something like this with the manual production of bricks?
Right.
We don't know, because it's impossible, I think, to imagine such amount of manual brick production, and the terms, the period of time. Who would pay so much people money? And I don't know, it's so expensive, I think, to have a manual production. So that's why they started to make all these machineries to get it cheaper, and to start to sell those machines to people that were previously doing it manually. And then they bought all this machinery. They forgot how to do how to do it faster in manual way, and they started to lean towards the machinery and manufacturing way. And I think they were able to save some money. That's why they were addicted to the new methods, and that's how it was changing in the period of 19th century. So people started to calculate the money, started to cut the costs of production, and of course it could be affecting the quality of the bricks. But no, bricks were still perfect as manual as the production bricks, as the machinery production bricks also have the same good, decent quality, and they still hang on, and all those buildings are still there. You can go and check any of those bricks and crash test it with the modern brick, and you can see that perhaps it plus minus the same.